some tone. Yeah. Well, hello there. My name is HW.
Hey, I'm the Sooze.
And Sooze, that is the Firebird 35 H313.
Love it.
Shameless plug. That thing
so
just came out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put, Shelly, can you put the shameless plug thing here? Thank you. Seriously, only thing I'm going to say about this, you take a DC 30, you do my favorite thing in the world that you do to AC 30 type amps, you make the back end bigger, the 34s. You're just left with the greatest things on the planet.
Right.
Just a bigger, greater, juicier, chimey thing that we all love. Sooze, today we are talking about maybe the most requested topic we've ever had. How to play like the Sooze. I got to tell you, man, the comments we have gotten over the last couple years, you are like, you're like the icon of the groove, you know? You are the standard bearer for yeah. And it's like, you've always had this style, as long as I've known you, of like this, it's these very like cool jams. They're kind of laid back, but they're interesting to listen to. What's he doing there? Oh, what is that? He's always, and the thing is, people always say, does a Sooze ever play the same thing twice? And you've always got a jam. You're one of the only guys I've ever met where genuinely, like legitimately, you sit down and you never think about what you're about to play. You always have a melody in your heart.
It comes from within. Well, they're kind of you to say, yeah.
I think deep down in the soul of the Sooze, there's just a jukebox. And it's just
trying to pump out the tunes.
You're just dialing in the numbers. Yeah. You know, and then they just pop out.
Right.
So, Sooze, teach us something that you do in your playing. I've been watching you play for a long time. I see a lot of the things you do, but show us something that you do that people can use that's applicable, and that'll be this whole series, Play Like the Sooze. Sure. And today we're talking about
smaller voicings today. Yeah.
Smaller voicings.
Yeah. So this is something I picked up pretty much early on, going from acoustic to electric guitar. So I used to play a ton of acoustic in college and just kind of big strummy, like rhythm.
Sure, cowboy chords and big, what you learn on the guitar when you first start.
Just the biggest, fullest sound. And so when I jumped to electric, I would jump into that. I would just start playing the biggest, like open chords, all 6 strings all the time. And I just didn't love the sound of it. It was muddy, especially with effects. Like it just was, I was sending so much information with every chord. And all the stuff I listened to, I was like, that's not how that sounds. Like they're doing something with the guitars. And so I just started taking out more and more notes until I was just playing what I needed to play. Let the bass player play the root, let, piano players all over the place. So, we talked about you're suggesting what chord it is rather than giving all of it. So that's kind of what I want to show today.
Yeah. Let's see it. Show us how to play some smaller, or give us some ideas.
Yeah. So an example would be like this E bar chord that we play like a C chord here. So that's all 6 strings going all the way through the chord.
Huge, yeah.
And so instead of that, just isolating just the G right here and just that E right there and playing this shape. So that's the same as going. Yeah. So it's just a much more straight ahead, refined sound.
So show them that progression again with the big chords. Now, when you're playing, do you still use big chords sometimes, or do you make them all small?
Sometimes I like to throw them in when it's needed. Maybe at the end of a song, I might land on a big 5 or 6.
Yeah, I have spent more time than anyone else playing at editing footage of you, so I'm playing dumb here.
Yeah, totally.
I know exactly how to play the guitar, but
for your sake,
But yeah, you really do throw that in. At times, and you suggest the chord, like you were pointing out those 2. You're just playing those 2 notes, and none of them are the root.
Right.
None of them are the bass.
Exactly. Yeah. So in terms of that chord, that would be the 5th of the chord and the 3rd of the chord without that low C anywhere. Not here, not the octave up.
Yeah.
So, and these are the same, I've seen you play these a bunch where it's these ones that you kind of move around. And that's really just following these large chords. But just playing the 5th of the chord and the 3rd of the chord here and just going.
So in context, imagine you and I are doing a demo. Like, you know, you come over and we do these demos.
Yeah.
Can you give us a progression? Can you tell us what the progression is so that they can kind of, you know, follow along?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, 3-4 chords or something. Play it big chords. And then show us how you would kind of apply this.
Oh, okay.
To make it sound better.
Yeah,
okay?
so I'll just do like C, D, E minor, G.
Okay.
And I can kind of do them the big way first so you can hear like the fullness. And maybe I'll just do cowboy chords down here.
Sure. Very cool.
So
now,
really rhythmy and big.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Now, how do we play like the Sooze?
So the Sooze would cut out all the extra stuff. I'm just gonna play root this time, 5th and 3rd, and play the same thing up the neck.
Yeah, yeah. That's beautiful.
Big chord at the end.
Wow.
You know, but not the whole song.
Wow,
So,
I feel like I can play like the Sooze already.
Yeah, so it's really just about finding which notes you can take out, playing as little as possible.
Yeah.
And kind of keeping them at the same as you move up the neck.
Yeah, totally. I love that. Can you give us one more example? Just because I think that was like crazy good. Maybe you want to do something like group. Maybe like I'll turn up these effects a little bit. You show something a little like more ambient because that's a big part of your playing, right? Is we turn up the delay and the verb a lot, and then you play these really beautiful, you know, pieces, and they're not always super intricate, but they sound lovely. And they're interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And often I'll sit down and copy something you're playing, and I'll realize that you've taken something very simple and made it sound like the Sooze. It just sounds different.
Yeah, I might describe that as like leaning into the effect and letting it take over. So just think about every note that you play, you're giving it to the delay, you're giving it to the reverb, and it's trying to reverberate every 6, you know, all the 6 strings.
Yeah.
So if I give it, like on this one, I'll just play 2 strings, the root and the 3rd. I won't even play a 5th or any other notes. And then let the kind of the effects take those 2 notes.
Try this. Is this enough delay and verse? Maybe 2.
Never enough.
Here, I just tapped that in for you.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah, maybe a little longer tail. Yeah, that's great. So I'll just play these smaller voicings down here, just the root and the 3rd.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So instead of doing all the big chords all the way up, just picking those 2 and limiting yourself.
Just for science, can you play the big chords all the way? Like play some big chord.
Like
That's
just a G. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it's just so much more tasty.
Awesome,
you know?
man. Thank you.
Yeah, and a lot of times I think as you play the guitar long enough, you notice when people are really just playing bar chords, but they've just lifted the fingers they don't need. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times we'll get comments, "What chord are you playing at the time?" And it's like I'm actually playing 2 notes.
Yeah. You can call it a chord.
Playing 2 notes. I'm playing 3 notes, right?
Yeah.
It can be a chord. It can be 3 notes, right? You have all 3, but you're just lifting the fingers that you don't need, and you're being a lot more. And that's a really great example.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can see that really clear. Well, they should practice that.
It's fun. Yeah, give it a try, and you know, and a lot of it's just trial and error, just trying to figure out even where to put your fingers on stuff and how to move them around. Mm-hmm. You'll get used to how they look, and then in every key, you know, that's how they look, just a little bit higher.
Yeah, every variation of a bar chord, any different, you know, whatever fingers you're lifting or where, you know, if you know one, if you know where the 1, 5, and 3 is on a chord, you know where they are in every position.
Yeah.
And you can just move them around, major and minor, and boom, you can play music.
Yeah, try different keys and just have fun with it.
Yeah. That's really cool. Hey, I hope this has been helpful. Like I said, this has been like the most requested like kind of idea we've ever gotten. Can you just talk about how Sooze is doing these things?
That's crazy.
And so here it is, how to play like the Sooze, smaller chord voicings. I love how you said give it to the delay. Just surrender to the delay and the verb.
Hand it over.
It's really playing.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we're just fiddling the knobs. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, I've been HW.
I'm in the Sooze.
And Sooze, we should do more of these.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. HW and the Sooze.
Out.
Out.